All right, boom. What up? We're live. It's week 2, NFL Fantasy Today show, our Thursday afternoon special. I got Jason Baum, I got Brian Shade, and we are going to be rocking out. We're going to talk Thursday Night Football, some week 1 overreactions. Are they overreactions? Preview a little week 2, talk a little injuries, talk a little waiver wire. I mean, answer questions. Definitely going to be answering questions. Let's start with how did everyone's week go? Jason, what's up?
Oh, man, week is good. Personally, just overcame a little bit of illness. Football-wise, solid fantasy week. Definitely happy with the Niners win at, quite the cost. But, hey, anytime you can win up in Seattle, it's great.
Okay, Brian, we're not going to talk about your fantasy week because you're already too smug, but no, hit us.
Yeah, doing pretty well. I'm like 6-1. I made 2 pretty big bets that won, so I'm like up 20-some units too, so I can't complain.
Did you hit that running touchdown parlay?
No, I had Javonte Williams and Kincaid first touchdown.
Wow. Well, okay, that's pretty nice. That's pretty nice. Jason, we're gonna hit over to injuries for you first. Let's just talk waiver wire. Did anyone make any big bids? Anyone use any big waiver wires? Anyone miss out on guys they wanted or get the guys they wanted? I'll start. I in my big money league, I $1,000 bid. I bid $150 on Keishon Butte because it's also 20 rosters, so it's like the wire doesn't really pop. Brian, what do you think of that?
Only 150. I mean, that's only 15%. That's solid. So I would have taken that, especially in that deep of a league.
Yeah, like everybody's rostered. Jason, what about you? You make any big moves?
I did not. I tried to make a couple bids for Harold Fannin that failed. One of them was because I'm still stashing Jaden Blue on IR. So, can't really do anything until he's ruled out again. So that kind of stunk. And then somebody else in another league outbid me for him. So I zagged and picked up Brenton Strange instead.
Yeah, what's with this Harold Fannin thing, Brian? Brian, do you know what? Or I guess Jason, you're more of the college guy. Like, I was just checking the high stakes league. I think somebody bid $250 for him. He's a tight end, and they still have the Njoku, right? I know he led the team in targets, but like,
that's what it was. He got 9 targets on Sunday.
Okay,
which is more than like anybody else on the team. So everybody's just jumping. Plus, he's young. He's good. Especially in a league where you're in, if your rosters are that deep, it kind of makes sense. But, it kind of goes into that week 1 overreaction, like, oh, my God, I need to get this guy. Also, the fact that there weren't many, overreactions. There weren't many week 1 this year, like, oh, my God, I need this guy off waivers sort of thing because injuries were light, and, like, nobody entirely new, entirely popped off.
Well, okay. I don't know. Brian, do you agree with that?
I mean, I think the big thing is rookie tight ends have kind of been a fad of late. You had Laporta, you had Bowers. This was the one rookie tight end that really, I guess Tyler Warren went off, but everyone rostered him.
Yeah.
Browns ran a bunch of 12 personnel. Browns skill position players are subpar at best, we'll say.
Okay.
So he's a talent. I mean, he was great in college, bunch of production his last year. So it's just, I get it if you're desperate for tight ends, and it's not like the tight end landscape, especially after everyone was hurt. With tight ends, like the combination of injuries plus he's young and seeing his upside, I get it, but
But they have Njoku. Like Njoku's a better tight end, right? And even if he isn't the split time, it just.
They were both playing. They were playing a lot of 12 personnel because it was like your third receiver is Jamari Thrash, maybe Isaiah Bond, who they just signed. Like a lot of the time it's Judy Tillman, Njoku, Fannin as their 4 pass catchers and then 1 back.
But I think Sampson had like 10 targets though, right? So it's like it's just I didn't get it. Like if you guys had number 1 waiver priority, would you have used it on Fannin?
No.
Okay,
I mean, I probably wouldn't have used it.
Jason, if you had Kittle, would you use it? Or you like Fannin a little more? Brian, what about that? If you had Kittle, would you use it on Fannin?
I trust Juwan Johnson more, but that's just not a hypey pick.
Okay.
I wouldn't either, to be honest. Like, I think Fannin has a ton of potential, and you saw it, the 9 early targets, but I want to see more. And plus, there's still guys who, proved it previous years, like Brenton Strange and Hunter Henry still out there.
Yeah, right? Tight ends usually deep. Or if maybe Bowers, if you have Bowers in every league like I did, I'd rather grab Michael Mayer, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I mean, I think Hollywood, if you're not if you need someone to play now, I think Hollywood was the best pickup. just because Worthy, even if he plays, I don't think he's doing much. I just think he might be almost a body out there to have the defense, just a fast run. Like, he hurt his shoulder. He can still run fast. The extension on that shoulder, I don't think it's going to be great. So that's just not somebody I want to go after. So, I mean, Hollywood had he was the top target getter on them last week. So,
yeah, $1 million.
Not only the extension of the shoulder, but do you want to hit from that defense right now that you guys are bringing into town this weekend, Brian?
I mean, yeah, the second cornerback is trash at best, but yeah, I mean, it's not the best matchup.
What if somebody spits on his shoulder, right? You could re-injure it.
Oh man!
All right, Jason. Let's get into some injuries. It wasn't that bad, but your poor Niners. George Kittle's on the IR. Yep. They have 2 young tight ends. I was scouring the wire for. Do you like any of them?
Pretty relatively light week for injuries, unless you're a 49ers fan, like you mentioned, like me. George Kittle, hamstring injury. Looks like he hurt it in the second quarter and left the game, never came back. Now on short-term IR, so he's going to miss at least the next 4 games. So Jake Tongas caught the game-winning touchdown. Shout out to Gatos. And then this guy Farrell that they signed in the offseason to a fairly middle-term deal for a backup tight end. 3 years, $18 million. I gotta say, if I was choosing between those two and Harold Fannin, and on the waiver wire, I'm taking Fannin.
Okay.
For now. And, again, there's other options. I know I put in a piece that have guys that are like Hunter Henry, Brenton Strange, Chigga, guys who are around like 33 to 35%, 35% rostered and below in Yahoo leagues right now.
Yeah. Zach Ertz might even be available. He seems to score every week. Okay, and then we also now Brock Purdy's going to miss 2 to 5 games, something like
Correct.
that. He's pretty tough.
Maybe he has 3 of turf toe, 2 to 5 weeks. Obviously a big blow for the Niners. Mac Jones comes in. It's a good thing they signed him. He actually did okay last year. And, for people who have Ricky Pearsall stock, just remember he did pretty solid with Brian Thomas Jr. last season. Now, granted, Brian Thomas Jr. is a very, very talented receiver, but Ricky's not bad either. And, during his time, and, this may be irrelevant or whatnot, in college when Ricky was the only option in Arizona State's passing game before he transferred to Florida, still found his way open a lot.
Yeah, I don't think anyone doubts Ricky can get open and is a stud, but, the downgrade from Brock to Mac is pretty significant.
It's rough.
Brian, where were you at with Mac Jones? Like, would you start him? Who would you start him over in Superflex leagues? And then who would you start over Ricky Pearsall now without Brock?
I mean, I don't hate Mac Jones. Like, I have him at QB 22. Like, I'm not super against him.
Okay.
I mean, it's still the offense. Like,
you have Mac Jones over Baker Mayfield?
This week I do.
Holy crap.
Well, that Brian Flores defense, man. If you watch anything from the second quarter on Monday night, they absolutely cooked.
Wait, is it Tampa playing Minnesota?
No, I'm talking about I'm thinking Atlanta, Minnesota. Tampa's playing Houston. Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, I don't have it off the top of my head who they're playing, but yeah, I mean, I don't hate him. He still has some weapons. He still has Christian McCaffrey. Kyle Shanahan's still a good play caller. Like, we've seen people thrive on that offense that are backups before. Nick Mullins has done work. He's got 2 to 5 weeks. Like, I think he can kind of just game manage his way to low-end QB2 performances.
Okay, and then what about Pearsall Jennings? We're going to get to in a second, Jason. I don't even know if he's playing. But so let's go Pearsall versus wide receivers tonight. Would you play Debo or Pearsall?
Debo.
Okay. Yeah. What about anyone on Green Bay? Jaden Reed or Matthew Golden or Ricky Pearsall?
I think I have Reed above. Jaden Reed's targets were actually pretty high last week.
Yes, I love Jaden Reed. So
I think I'd play Pearsall over definitely all the Packers other than Reed. And I'd probably play both McLaurin and Samuel over him.
Okay, so it's kind of like that. No, maybe not double-edged sword, but it's like Pearsall gets to downgrade from Brock to Mac, but he gets to upgrade with no Kittle and Jennings hurt. He might see 12 targets, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, he's a floor play, I think.
Okay, so Jason, let's get back to the Niners. Poor Niners. What's the deal with Jennings? Is he gonna play? It's a shoulder, I think, right?
Yeah, he's doing a little bit of a shoulder problem from the game on Sunday, as well as he's still dealing with the calf stuff. He was getting that stretched out and worked on like the entire game on Sunday. I have not heard any word of his status. I haven't checked practice reports yet today. I'd assume he's going to go. He is tough. He has his contract restructured. I think he's probably willing to play through a little more now. So yeah, I would personally expect him to go on Sunday.
Okay.
I can fact check myself here just to make sure.
Okay, you do that well. So Brian, where's Jennings for you? Is he even a flex play? Like, let's just take a random game here. Let's take where are the Pats?
I have Jennings in wide receiver 53. So
Jennings a wide receiver 53. Okay, so would you play Diggs or Jennings?
I'd go Diggs still.
Okay, Keyshawn Butte or Juwan Jennings?
Jennings I have above. Okay. I'm not confident about that. I mean, there's a whole range of like 9.5 to 8.0. That's just kind of a flip of the coin.
Because it seems I'd be worried about the injury and the QB situation, right? But it's I don't know, it's tough. I have Jennings in a couple leagues. I don't think I'm going to play him.
Yeah, man. To me, it comes down to like how many points are they projected to score? Like New England's at, I think, like 21 points projected around there. San Francisco, I'm looking it up here, is at like, again, probably 22. Pretty similar. It's just, I don't know how much I trust the Keyshawn Butte. He had one good week. I mean, yeah, he did pretty well at the end. I just don't know if I trust that. I'm not going to feel confident starting either, if I'm being honest, especially if I'm in a 12-team league. If you go deeper, yeah, I get it. You got to start him. But if you're in a 12-team league, I think you can find other options to start.
Yeah. All right, that's okay. All right, last one. So what about Cedric Tillman? Because he was a guy I loved last year. I drafted him every time I did Anthony's best ball. I have him in a lot of leagues this year. He might be the wide receiver one in Cleveland. He scored. We got all this Harold Fannin love. What Cedric Tillman or Juwan Jennings?
I have Tillman literally one spot above Jennings. So it's very close.
Actually, I like Tillman too. I'm with you, John. In terms of Jennings, very limited. He's just been working on a side field today for practice.
Okay, let's go. Let's go Brock Bowers, right? Bowers is my guy. I got him everywhere. He got hurt, but he said he wanted to go back in the game, but he couldn't. But he didn't practice today.
Then he said he was fine and not concerned, and today he's not practicing. So
I'm concerned. Consider me concerned.
I think it's fair to be concerned, yeah.
So what are we doing? So Bowers, if he's, I think, isn't it Monday night when the Raiders play?
That's the other thing is they also have a Monday night game, a very late Monday night game. So there's a little more time here. So before,
but not to play another tight end, right? Because if we get to Monday and he doesn't play, we're fucked.
Well, why don't you just pick up Michael Mayer?
Right, that's the answer, right?
Yeah.
Michael Mayer or Will Dissly for the Chargers.
Oh, Dissly, yeah. But they also they threw more to the former Jet.
They threw to all their tight ends.
Yeah, but the Jet tight end, what's his name?
Let's be real. I'm still just so amazed that Justin Herbert threw the ball so many times on last Friday night. Like, I'm still in complete and utter shock of that. Like, he threw so many times, I can't even remember who he threw the ball to half the time. I know the fact Quentin Johnson.
A lot of Quentin Johnson. So what would you do, Jason, with these injured Niners? Like, let's say you have Kittle, like I do, or something. Would you try and trade him or Purdy, or would you try and ride it out? Like, what would be? Let's say I tried to trade you Kittle. What would you give me?
If you tried to trade me Kittle, I would probably give you like a low-end receiver too at this point. I know everybody was so high at the beginning of the season. For me, like I always know he's so prone to injury because his game in general is so much more violent than a lot of other tight ends. Like he's just so prone for it. So for me, like he's always guaranteed to miss like a game or two at least every year. So that personally for me knocks his value down.
Okay.
His durability is always a concern for me.
And then what about Bowers? You think he'll play on Monday?
I'm not quite there yet on a prediction. I still feel like there's enough time, and me being the optimist that I am, thinks she's gonna play.
Okay. Any other injuries before we'll move on to the Thursday night game?
Xavier Worthy
Right.
had the shoulder injury last week after colliding with Travis Kelce. He actually practiced today for the Chiefs. They said they weren't going to have surgery or anything like that, but definitely remains to be seen if he goes or not. And then just speaking of night games, the Falcons, both their receivers, Drake London and Darnell Mooney, have been practicing each of the last couple of days. Things are trending nicely for them to be active on Sunday night.
Okay, that's perfect. Mooney was one of the big surprises last season. He was awesome. What would you do with him? So like Mooney or Juwan Jennings, who would you play Sunday?
I'd probably go JJ.
Yeah, Brian, you too?
Yeah, I don't trust Mooney the first game back from an injury.
Yeah, especially that defense is tough.
Yeah, I get that Jennings is also banged up, but if he's playing, it's a little different and getting back into game shape. Mooney's been out for a good few weeks. Like, I try not to, especially at that level of player where it's even when fully healthy, it's with flex play. Like, I try not to start them in their first week back from injury if I can.
Yeah, that's smart. So, Jason, you keep mentioning this Vikings defense. Like, I know they blitz a lot, but the secondary is terrible. It was, Caleb Williams' first game in the new system. I thought he looked okay. He's maybe not that great. I mean, I want, because the rush defense is so good, I want quarterbacks and receivers like playing Minnesota.
I mean, I'm just going to say this. Caleb's arc on Monday night was crazy. From the first possession where he looked like a completely different quarterback, to looking like, oh, man, Ben Johnson's this genius, to his final couple possessions when he looked exactly like rookie year Caleb Williams was very actually nightmarish. Like, it went from a total complete new makeover to a complete and utter regression in the span of 4 quarters. It was insane.
Okay. Brian, where are you at with Minnesota while I let my dog in?
I mean, they're a tough defense for sure. Brian Flores is good. I think Caleb Williams' arc kind of comes down to, okay, the first part of the game, probably all scripted plays. The moment he got off script, that's when things tended to go south. So
Brian Flores put the pressure. He made the adjustments and really put the pressure on Caleb, and he didn't come through. Like, Flores' defense are known for bringing a lot of, like you said, Brian, blitzing and a lot of pressure, bringing heat. Even if he has the best defensive line and can only rush forward, he still has the itch to just send a guy or send a linebacker or somebody else.
Wasn't he not blitzing though on Monday? I was watching the game and I said he didn't blitz much.
Yeah, but then he started blitzing. He started blitzing because Caleb was carving him. Because Caleb was going, and then Flores adjusted, and then everything went away.
Okay, so we got a quick question here from Kuro Sahari. I'm bad at that. This is pretty much what we're talking about, Njoku or Fannin going forward. I trust in Njoku. He was like a top 5, top 6 tight end last year. I think he had 40 targets over the final 3 games. He's proven he can do it. Fannin just had this one random game, and they were playing Cincinnati. I think the only thing Fannin's going to eat into Njoku's work, but I don't think Fannin's going to be a viable tight end play.
I think Fannin's a better deeper league stash for now, so I'm more in the more immediate term. I would say Njoku, but keep your eye on Fannin.
Okay, Brian?
I kind of like Fannin. I don't. One thing to note is like Bengals have in the past few years just been absolute trash against tight ends, like bottom 3 in the league in giving up fantasy points to tight ends. So both of them did well. I just think, like, no offense to Njoku, but like the future is not Njoku of the Browns. Yeah, they're going to try to win now, but like as the season goes on, I think they're going to try to kind of lean more young, and I think they're both going to play, and I just kind of like the upside of Fannin a bit more. I mean, if you just need somebody to trust weekly, sure, I get it, go with Njoku, but especially if you have another tight end or you have the roster ability to have 2 tight ends, I would definitely have Fannin because I think the upside of that hitting pays off way more than Njoku would if you just kept him on your team.
Sure. Okay, that makes sense. For me, it's neither. It's like I think they both cannibalize each other. Reminds me of last year, week one, where Likely was a tight end one, and then Andrews got healthy, and then Likely didn't do much until like the end of the season in the playoffs, right? So
Yeah.
it's kind of tough. But let's move to Thursday night. Brian, the one thing I really want to talk about is what do we use for our metrics? We got week one, which has happened, overreaction week one, the class story's old as time, or versus last season. So we've got this Commanders Green Bay game, a great game on paper. Commanders gave up the third most rushing yards in the league last year, but versus the Giants in week one, they had the defense had the highest rated rush grade. So which defense are they? Like which metrics should we use? And you're not allowed to say both.
I mean, for my model, I use I think 1 week isn't enough. So I only do like a 5%. I have like 95% last season and 5% of week one because week one's such a small sample size. There's a bunch of like wackiness to it. So that way it's like, all right, I'm still kind of taking into account week one a little bit. And when it comes to like target share, rushing share, and all that, I'm taking into account week one data. But from a defensive standpoint, like it's just 1 week. Like no offense to Giants fans. Are they that great? Like their offensive line's not the best. I don't think the Giants are a great view of a rushing defense.
Or rushing offense.
Rushing off, yeah. Well, yeah, I don't think their rushing offense against the Commanders' defense is that great of an example of being like, Commanders are great now.
Okay, well, Jason got the same question. So the Packers, right, they got Micah Parsons. Defense is supposed to be pretty good. They held Detroit. They held Gibbs and Montgomery, both each under 30 yards rushing. Yep. So now we go to week two. They've got Washington, who rushed for over – did they rush for over 200 yards? I think they rushed for over 200 yards. What are you doing? Which gives?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the Packers should only get better because if you look at it, Micah Parsons only played 27 snaps, and he made his presence felt on those 27 snaps. Like he was on the field for 7 rushing plays, and on those 7 rushing plays, the Lions had -2 yards on the ground.
Okay, wow.
He had a snack, and he was definitely a big factor in that one interception they had in the red zone.
So we got Washington, Bill Krosky-Merritt, popular kind of rookie that that people kept drafting early in the middle rounds. Are you starting him this week against this Green Bay defense that just shut down the Lions, the greatest offensive attack in the league, maybe second, Brian?
I'm actually not, and the reason I'm not is because they beat the Giants, so there's that. The other thing is, he only played 33% of the snaps last week. His snap share was 33%. It's obviously easy to overreact and get excited. So I'm just not all the way there yet, but I still really like him. I just like him for later.
Okay, Brian, same thing. So are you playing Bill or Austin Eckler? Let's say it's a PPR league. Because you go game script, right? Green Bay's ahead, Washington playing from behind. Eckler is the passing down, back. He could get a lot of little cheeky checkdowns.
Yeah, I'm not comfortably starting Merritt anywhere. I would say Eckler's the move here. I don't love him. I've had a few decisions in playing Eckler that I've leaned against him, like Eckler or Warren, Eckler or Jacoby Myers. Like I have Eckler in a lot of spots, so I've had a lot of choices to start him or not, and I'm not starting him in many places either.
Okay, so your model only uses 5% in week one, but it seems like for your fantasy decision, you're weighing that defensive performance by Green Bay in week one pretty strongly. I'd have to check. Let's see how good they were last year against the run, right? Packers.
It's not really the run. It's just like they have so many people touching the ball too.
Okay.
Jeremy McNichols had rushes. Chris Rodriguez, I think, was out last year, or he
healthy scratch, I think.
Yeah, not last year, last week. So like they still have
Daniels.
Yeah. So like the highest rushing share I have is 30% for a running back.
Okay.
Because Jaden Daniels is always like 25 to 30% rush share. That leaves 75%. And if you split the rest between 3 running backs, which they kind of do, that's not a lot. So
sure.
If I'm going to go anywhere, I'm going to go with the person or the player who has the most targets. But even then, it's not the most comfortable start.
Sure, but let's say they were playing, Carolina, right? You would start Bill Merritt, right?
Yeah, I think
10 carries, he had a great big one, and he scored, right? You're talking. This is more matchup dependent, also based on the volume.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. Okay, so Jason, I got a question for you. We got John Boy 1124. Would you start Debo or Pickens this week?
Ooh, I like this one. Pickens
Dallas
had
was playing the Giants.
3 catches for like 30 yards last week. I think Dallas opens it up a little bit more this week. And I don't think if I can recall, I don't think they have any injuries along the offensive line. I think Dallas puts on a show. I actually like Pickens this week.
Okay, you love Pickens, even though
Although
Debo, I think, led the team in targets, led the team in
Debo
yards.
was the Packers in his career. So I kind of like that too.
Okay, Brian?
I have George Pickens right under Debo in my ranking. So I would
Wow.
go Debo. There is kind of a tier break for me. I think Debo with the rushing, Cliff Kingsbury showed that he'll still use him in that running game, which we didn't know if that would happen coming
I
from
think he had
49ers days.
one rush, but it was 18 yards in the score. So
Yeah, exactly.
That's 7 points. 7.8 points. So
they had 10 targets and 7 catches for 70 yards.
Yeah, like they showed that they want to use him. I just think he's safer and can provide upside, especially if they're going to play from behind. Game script says you're probably going to get more targets to Debo than maybe Pickens because, okay, you go off 2 scores in the beginning of the game. Javonte Williams, our favorite player, is going to get a bunch of rushing.
Okay, yeah, I think it's pretty close.
You're also going to think CeeDee Lamb is going to want to have a major bounce back week, and they're going to want to get him involved early and often after a couple of those drops the other night.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's close. Are we believing this Debo hype? Because Debo went super late in drafts. I think he was for the wide receiver. He was top 5 wide receiver last week. Do you think maybe he'll because everyone said he got fat? Do you think this is kind of a short-term usage thing and then he'll get hurt, or this new offense, Jaden Daniels, he's going to be used a lot?
I kind of think he's going to be what he was with the Niners. Other than that one year that he was like a top 5 or top 10 player, I think he'll be a wide receiver 2 to wide receiver 3 weekly.
Okay.
It's a startable asset. You got value on where you drafted him. I would just accept that and move forward.
Maybe matchup dependent. Jason, do you know anything about the Packers secondary? I think they drafted a corner who was really good last week. He held St. Brown, but their second corner is terrible.
Yeah, it's still a little bit shaky. So they're second, and that's why you bring in a Micah Parsons though to help offset that.
Sure.
Somebody to make a quarterback's life hard to make your secondary's life easier. Pass rushers like Parsons don't grow on trees, so you got for games like this.
Okay. We got another question here. Tron Force. Need 2 wide receivers and a flex. PPR. Tyreek, McLaurin, DK, Travis Hunter, Cooper Kupp, Jalen Warren. We got JCM and Eckler. Okay. Jason, so anyone right away you rule out or is must start?
In terms of at this point, I think you have to rule out Kupp because Sunday wasn't good.
Yeah, Kupp out. Okay.
Yeah, sounds like Travis Hunter is going to have to play a little more defense this week. So I would actually be a little hesitant there. So if I'm starting receivers, I feel like Tyreek's got to have a bounce back week this week. So I would actually start him. And then I would probably also start DK Metcalf.
Buying the DK resurgence. Okay. Brian, what about you?
Yeah, I think the first 3 are your starters.
Okay, Tyreek, McLaurin, DK. Boom.
I think behind that, Jalen Warren's probably the next one you'd try to go after. I don't trust Hunter. I get that Hunter. I just need more proof in Hunter's direction, and I think Jalen Warren just has a pretty safe floor that with Tyreek, McLaurin, and DK. I mean, Aaron Rodgers loves to target his wide receiver 1, so I just think DK could be a good value from draft time. I think those 3 receivers are just give you the biggest ceiling for your team, and I think that's what I would go with.
I think Travis Hunter led the Jags in targets, right? But
he did, yeah.
34 yards, right? So that that game was kind of weird. What about Eckler, right? So I think Gibbs had 10 completions last week, but it was like for 30 yards. It was like the lowest ever. Sometimes the defensive strategy is, reveals itself, right? So do we think maybe Eckler would be a decent spot in a PPR because if maybe the defense is giving them the flat for that easy check down?
Maybe. I mean, Eckler only had 3 targets last week too, so that's like definitely a little lower for what we've seen in the last few years with him. Also, Jalen Warren is a solid option, even though things look shaky for him last week, and then he popped a touchdown catch.
Okay. So, but see, yeah, for me, Tyreek, Miami's just a no-go. Although they're playing the Pats, right?
Yeah, that could go either way. And the Pats have always struggled down there for whatever reason. Even during the Brady years, they've always struggled in Miami.
Yeah, and the Pats D's looking pretty shaky. Okay. So let's just stay with Thursday for a little bit. Jason, you got some bets for me?
Yeah, prop bets. Okay, so I have 2 from each team and from 2 separate sites. So from the Packers, these are from our lovely invisible friends over at DraftKings. Or I'm sorry, for the Commanders, these are from our lovely invisible friends over at DraftKings. Austin Eckler over 40 plus receiving yards plus 278.
40. So it's not rushing receiving; it's just receiving yards.
Receiving yards, yeah, plus 278.
Let's see. I don't know if that's enough, Brian. That's not enough juice for 40 receiving yards.
31 last week.
Okay.
I feel like he could up that today, especially because again with the Packers, this newfound pass rush for them, that could mean a lot of checkdowns. It could mean a lot of screens. I feel like he could hit that.
Yeah, and then also if game script wise, if the Packers go up, maybe he's taking cheap ones. Okay, that's not too bad. Just quickly make sure anybody watching, if you're on Twitter, come over to our YouTube feed. That way you can ask questions. We're gonna go for another probably 20 minutes. So get your questions in if you have any start sits for Thursdays. If you have any bets, if you want to check anyone's out in Brian's model, we can take care of that for you. Okay, Jason, what else you got?
Next one I like for Washington is Jaden Daniels over 9.5 carries plus 111 on DraftKings. I feel like he could take off and run a bunch tonight. It may be like 10 carries for like 61 yards, but hey, that's all you need is 10 carries to get that win, and $100 to win 111, right?
Brian, what do you like with that? Because I think he averages about 10 carries. Do you think he'll maybe run more or less? Like, do you think the negative game script makes him run more or less?
I mean, I guess kind of more because you drop back to pass more. So if you drop back to pass more, you might have more scrambles. I got him at almost 7 carries.
Okay.
What was the price on that?
Plus 110, I think, was it 10 carries, Jason?
Yeah, it was over 9.5 carries plus 111.
Okay. I mean, you're getting plus money. I don't hate it.
Is it kneel down to carry?
Yes, a -1.
What?
Yeah, it is a carry.
Okay. Wow. Okay. I might bet Daniels rushing yards because it's the most fun, but I'd probably do like maybe alt line like 30 rushing yards or something.
Yeah. Why not?
All right. What else you got?
Okay, and then for the Packers, and these are fake sponsored by our fake friends at FanDuel. Matthew Golden over 34.5 receiving yards minus 112. Got to sprinkle in a little minus money in there too. And then Jaden Reed over 3.5 receptions plus 128.
Okay, well, Brian, what do you think? So Matthew Golden was like one of the most hyped wide receiver rookies of the summer, but Jordan Love only threw 22 passes, so it's like who could really get popping? Do you have any feel for the depth chart or the kind of the snap share or target share for the Packers?
I mean, Romeo Doubs is like the one who's on the field the most, so that is something to note. I love the Jaden Reed bet. It was over 3.5, right? I have 4.5, so like that. Golden, I get it. Like he could just have one bomb and you get it. He's hard to predict because they threw it so little last week and you just don't have much data on him. Totally get it. His numbers are skewed by he's a rookie, so he doesn't have last season's reception, like yards per reception data to go off of. So I'm just going off of the average of a wide receiver. So
yeah, I don't think I've ever been right picking a Packers wide receiver prop. Jason, how do you think that wide receiver room breaks out, right? Because I think Dobbs was good. Kraft, I think people are repping. Do you think Love throws more? Because he threw 22 passes week 1. I saw people repping him to throw more than 30 this week. Where do you think his volume ends up?
I think it goes over 30. I think the game script will force it to increase a little bit. I don't think they're going to blow Washington out. I think it'll be a close game. I think he'll have to throw. It could be very high scoring for what Both teams seem to have at least respectable to solid defenses, but it's a short week. Seems like a nice night out in Wisconsin. Could be a little something there. Both quarterbacks probably going to want to show off and air it out a little bit.
So if you were me, so like you want to bet on Golden, you want to bet on Reed, even though Dobbs had the most receiving yards. If I did that, Dobbs would have over 100 receiving yards. Like that's just how it works.
Yeah.
You're not worried about Dobbs because they like to use 2 wide receiver sets, right? And I think that's usually Dobbs and Reed, or is it going to be Dobbs and Golden?
I haven't seen enough film yet on their opener to give you a transparent answer on that, John. They played at the same time as the Niners on Sunday, and I was not watching. The Packer game was on at the place I was at, but there was not a whole lot of attention on the Packer game, unfortunately.
That's fair. I totally get that. Okay, we got another question here. Jackson Taylor. Got a question for you boys. Would you send A.J. Brown and Quinton Judkins for Omarion Hampton and George Kittle? Oh, a nice Kittle trade. So Judkins practiced today. He looks pretty good. We don't really know what the ramp-up's going to be. Is he going to play week 2? Is he going to be the RB3? Is Sampson going to be the passing down? We don't really know. Brian, where? I know you're a big A.J. Brown guy, so where are you at with this?
Like maybe if Kittle wasn't hurt, but that feels not right to me. Are we that sure that Hampton's way better than Judkins?
No, but we're
I don't know.
pretty.
He's a better offense. He is yes, Hampton is a better asset than Judkins. I just think you have A.J. Brown for at least 4 weeks that you don't have Kittle. So 4 weeks plus A.J. Brown, I just think I wouldn't make that.
So you're kind of selling low on A.J. Brown, right?
I think the only time A.J. Brown ever has 1 catch or 8 yards again is on his first catch of the game in the first quarter, not for full 4.
Yeah. So what do you? Yeah, you're selling low on A.J. Brown. Maybe you're selling a little high on Judkins because he's back and the little hype. But then Kittle doesn't seem like you're getting much of a buy low on Kittle, right? If Kittle's out 4 or 5 games, so what would make you do this trade? What if you had like Tyler Warren as your tight end too? And then you get to slide Warren in, to absorb Kittle, or if you're trading Kittle, I mean, would that factor in at all? If you could slide in a nice tight end?
No, because then you got to have a tight end on your bench.
Yeah, no Kittle on that. Okay.
You can flex him, but even still, it makes why are you flexing a tight end?
Okay, so is there any way you could make this trade better? Like maybe downgrade A.J. Brown, because he's giving up A.J. Brown and Judkins, right?
Yeah. I would take A.J. Brown out of that trade.
And then Kittle's it's just tough because the guy's on the IR. Like Kittle, if he's great in 4 weeks, it's a steal. But maybe if you go 1 and 3 in those weeks, what's Kittle's value? What would be Kittle's value straight up for a wide receiver? Like we use the Juwan Jennings on the same team. Cedric Tillman for Kittle. Who would you rather have?
Kittle.
Kittle.
I mean, it's hard to tell because I'm a big proponent of win at the beginning. I tried a new thing this draft season where I definitely went safer in all my drafts. I tried to avoid injuries because I want to get out to a hot start and then I'm confident in my abilities to go waiver wire and pick people up.
Or prey on the teams at the bottom.
Exactly. So at this point, you're going to be the team that's preyed on because you just put you put either a first or second round. You probably spent a second rounder on A.J. Brown that you're trading away for someone who's not going to be there for 4 weeks. It's just too much of a sell low to me. Unless you won week 1 and you are stacked at receiver, then sure, I get it. I would also need, if you don't have an IR slot in your league, definitely no.
Yeah, obviously. And also maybe wait 2 weeks. If this guy's 0-3, maybe you get Kittle for a song.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Because I do like trading for injured players, but it almost always screws me. So Jackson, we'd say wait a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jason, I don't think we got. All right, another one. Jason, this is all you. Trone Force received a trade offer giving me Derrick Henry and Devontae Adams. This is a monster for CMC and DK. I countered with Henry and McConkey. Okay. He's DK McConkey. I think I'd rather have McConkey. It's weird. Nervous about CMC's health. Would you do this trade? All right, Jason. I always have a tough time understanding these trades. So he's getting Derrick Henry and Devontae Adams.
Yes.
Or he's trying to get
he's
Derrick
getting
Henry.
he's getting Derrick Henry and Devontae Adams and giving
No,
up.
but he wants Henry and McConkey.
Yeah.
So CMC DK. I like getting Derrick Henry and McConkey. I don't want CMC. You're also selling high in DK.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I know how much you love Lad, but in order to get something, you got to give something. I mean, if you saw Derrick Henry on Sunday night, he's clearly showed zero signs of slowing down. I would give up Lad for him.
Henry and
I made a similar trade. I was annoyed at John. We can talk about it if we want, that it didn't get pushed through. But
I tried.
You didn't try hard enough. But I traded CMC and Jamison Williams. I got the Williams mixed up. CMC and Jamison Williams for A-Chain and DJ Moore. I'm afraid of CMC. I mean, yes, I traded him when we didn't know if he was going to play with the calf, and I thought I was guaranteed to have A-Chain, and our friendly commish just didn't push it through before week 1. But he played. I was safe. But I am nervous about the health. I would do that trade in a heartbeat. The one thing I'll say is, like, I'm pretty high on DK moving forward. I think I value him the highest out of all of those receivers.
Over McConkey, that's a little crazy to me, just because it ties in with Rodgers' health.
Yeah, but DK's the one. McConkey, yes, he is the one, but there's he at least has competent 2-3, plus he has 2 rookies that are going to earn more playing time as it comes. I'm not saying McConkey's not always going to be on the field, but there are more weapons on that Chargers team. Yes, it's a better offense, but if you're throwing the ball, it's either to Jonnu or DK on that team.
Okay, that makes sense. But Jason, but with CMC, I mean, he's going to be the whole goddamn offense now, right? Does that scare you as a Niners fan? Jason, you keep interrupting me. Let me finish because we just overlap. So, Jason, what do you do with CMC? Because he's going to have the craziest usage imaginable this week, right?
Most likely, but also Brian Robinson, is there. He might get a little increase in workload too. However, I don't trust Kyle Shanahan to manage Christian McCaffrey's workload whatsoever.
Okay.
I straight up he's gonna get all the usage that he can handle. He got 30 touches last week.
Yeah. Anytime that CMC is healthy, he will be a top 3 projected running back every week.
Sure, but now
with just whether he's healthy.
Yeah, but with Kittle out and now Mac Jones, I mean, it's
he'll still be a top 3 project. He's number 1.
No, I mean, he's higher. I'm saying it's even higher with them out.
Yeah.
Hey, you get a chance to get Derrick Henry at this point. How can you not?
Yeah, no, of course. Okay, we got to move on. I didn't want to talk to Bills and more CMC, but we got to top 5 low darks. Okay. Point half PPR, start 2 wide receiver, 1 flex, Brian Thomas Jr., Marvis Harrison Jr., Ibuka, Debo, Sutton, Breece Hall, ATN. Okay, so it's a monster. I think Breece Hall automatic start, right? After that Jets offense. He's our flex, Brian?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah. I mean, that's some good receivers right there.
Yeah, true. But, I mean, the Jets are playing what? The Bills? The Bills just gave up a billion yards to Derrick Henry?
I guess here's one way to look at it. Breece Hall and Etienne, okay, who do you like better out of there? You got to pick one of them. If you're putting a running back in the flex, it's probably Breece over Etienne.
He did have a monster.
Etienne's out of there. And then who are your 2 receivers? Probably Brian Thomas Jr. And I mean, that's the hard part. It's all of the next 4 are pretty similar. I think Ibuka I'd get rid of.
You get rid of Ibuka?
Compared to Debo, Sutton, and Marvin Harrison, yeah.
Ibuka had 2 touchdowns. Okay. I agree. This is tough. Brian Thomas Jr. is playing Cincy, so you have to play him, right? So Denver is playing.
I can pull it up real quick.
I think it's a good matchup for Indy. Okay. So do you just go by matchup? You try and find that worst pass defense or the best spot? Because, I agree. Marvin Harrison Jr., Debo, Sutton, they're all pretty nice. I mean, I might play Debo just to get the juice tonight, but.
Yeah, and Debo, his team, I think, is, other than Brian Thomas Jr., I think his team is projected to have the most points this week, just according to Vegas over-unders. Like, so that is one thing that I like to do to just kind of see. I think I would go BTJ, Debo, and then it'd be between Brees Hall, Marvin Harrison, and Sutton for your flex.
Okay. I think you got to go. You got to go.
I think Brees is the safest, yeah.
The Bills
in this case, I'm actually going Marv as my one of my two receivers in BTJ.
Okay, Jason. So go with this one. Pick one this week, and roster. Pick one this week, and Ross. I don't understand this. We got Bo Nix, Drake May, and Michael Penix Jr.
I'm gonna go Drake May here.
Drake May against Miami, terrible defense. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I think I'm also going. Yeah, I would go Drake May. Although Penix looks good. He's someone to keep an eye on, but I do think May's rushing helps him out a little bit more.
I think he only had 2 rushes, but yeah, Penix is great, especially with Darnell Mooney, right? That might be even better. Do you guys factor in the home away at all? Because I think if it's a young QB, I want him at home.
Sometimes.
That's like that's one of after over under. I'd maybe go there for a tiebreaker.
Okay, yeah, I love Drake May. I wish I got him in more leagues. Okay, we got a few more minutes. So Little Bunny Hop, what's up, fellas? Got suggested this video. That means keep doing what you're doing. Well, that's the nicest thing that's ever happened to me. The algorithm pushing you out. Okay, great. Like the video. Now just curious, who'd rather start Fields or Kyler? Well, you do a compliment like that, you get the longest deep dive we've ever done. Okay, so Fields or Kyler? Jason, I mean, Fields looked like he had that offense on set. That Bills defense is going to be terrible. They're always bad against the run. Plus, that offense is great. That could be a high-scoring game. Kyler, is kind of a loser. Arizona, but the Arizona rushed for a lot of yards too, right? But Carolina, one of the worst defenses ever. So what are you doing? This is tough.
Well, I know if I know I'd get stoned to death if I say those things about Kyler personally, just for my own personal connections down there. I can't say those things, but yeah, I was really, really impressed with what Fields did on Sunday against the Steelers. I mean, even Patrick Queen even grumbling after a game that they won. So there was that. Yeah, I actually kind of like Fields this week. I really liked what he had going. He had the run game working really well. That offensive line was moving really well despite losing one of their starting guards of the year. And he and Garrett Wilson really had it working. I know a couple teams and leagues, one that I'm in, has that stack. And I'm all of a sudden a little bit fearful of it going forward if I have to play them.
Yeah, Jason, what about you? Because we got the Jets at home. Like, do you think there's a Bills hangover too? They just played Baltimore, super physical team in the game of the year. Now they're playing the Jets. It's kind of a really nice spot for Fields.
I'm all in on Kyler.
Whoa!
I just first off, Vegas is smarter than all of us. I will admit that. I don't think I'm smarter than them. So Vegas has Arizona at 25.5, and they have Jets at 20.5 points.
Wow,
5 point difference. That's almost a touchdown. Most likely, you can say Kyler has like a 60% chance of that touchdown being with him. Other than that, they're kind of the same to me. Just one is tiny, one is larger athlete looking. They both have so many ups and downs. I just think the matchup is way better for Arizona. I have Kyler as my 3rd rated QB this week. I have him ahead of Josh Allen and Hurts just due to that.
You have him ahead of Josh Allen. How many fantasy points did Josh Allen just have? Wasn't it 42?
Yeah. I'm not saying I'm 100% right, but I do think Kyler, I would much rather go with Kyler in this option.
Okay, so let's talk about this. So you like Kyler because they're playing Carolina, so you the high point total. But we just saw Arizona's kind of this run first, I guess. So is the Jets, right? But they got Trey Benson, James Conner. They like to run with them. At least the Jets feels like it's more. Justin Fields is like the RB2, even though Braylon Allen's really good. We know Fields is going to get 60 yards of rushing and probably touchdown. Is Kyler going to do that? Like, I think he's happy just handing it off.
I mean, Kyler had 7 rushes for 38 yards last week.
Okay, that's pretty good.
That's solid rushing marks. If he gets that every week, and then he's also just playing a team he can throw the ball on, I think he's I think if Fields was playing Carolina, I'd be all in on Fields. I don't think it's really anything between those two. I just think it's matchup.
Okay.
I want to make this point. No, sorry, Don.
No, I was going to give you something. Go.
So if all things are even, meaning like, if this were week 1, I'd be, and this were the matchups, I'd be all in on Kyler. I want to go back to your point, though, John, about a little bit of the Ravens hangover and how physical of a game that was for the Bills defense. Like it was. They got gashed. So you got to come off a Sunday night game, and now you got to deal with another physical team, the Jets, who are going to be raring to go and raring to hit you in the mouth. That's why I actually really like Fields this week, because this is just not an easy matchup, coming in now with, the Bills, reeling physically a bit and having to kind of regain and recover. Their defense kind of found it at the end there, but now you got to, get back and raring to go against another team who's ready to, hit you in the face. And you got to go do it in their build, and you got to go to their building to take them on. So that's back-to-back really physical games. So, like, again, if this were even on paper, it'd be Kyler for me. But taking that part of the context into it for me, I like Fields.
Yeah, it's I'd love to see the stats rushing defenses after they play Derrick Henry.
I think they'll be happy to tackle someone else.
Yeah,
if they can, though, they're all But so that's something I was trying to bring up. Rush defenses. We know Carolina was one of the worst rush defenses in the league last week. They just gave up a ton of yards to Travis Etienne, who everyone thinks sucks. How does that rush defense translate running back to quarterback? Brian, is there any way to evaluate that? Are they correlated?
I mean, yes, they are, just from the zone read. If the rush team. If your rush defense isn't good against just Lawrence can run, but he's not like a Kyler or a Fields.
Yeah.
If you don't have gap discipline against just a running back, it's going to be way worse when you have to account for a QB and a running back, in my opinion. So I think if you're a bad rush defense, you're a bad rush defense. And then at some point, it's just who gets the rush share amount.
Okay. Because would you rather, you obviously want the bad rush defense, but if I'm Kyler, and Trey Benson's getting 6 yards to carry, why would he be really taking off, right? There's no real reason to, right? Like we saw with the Bills against the Ravens. Ravens have an elite rush defense. James Cook couldn't really run the ball. So Josh Allen kind of had to run more, but he only had about 30 rushing yards. So it's just, we're always trying to find this edge. But where do you have Fields in your QB ranks? Because I'm starting Fields over Kyler, and I'm not really thinking about it this week if I had them.
I mean, I got him at 15.
15? Holy crap. All right, little bunny. I mean, Brian's the model's usually pretty good. You had Patrick Mahomes as the QB3 last week. I said it was ridiculous. Where did he finish? Because he had that rushing TD.
I do not know actuals off the top of my head, but he had some good stats.
Yeah, right. So, I definitely lean the model over the vibes most of the time, if I can remember it. But
he had 26 points.
So, 3 versus 15. I think, Jason, me and you are Justin Fields. The math, the model, the science says a healthy Kyler, right? You have a Kyler, not even a consideration, really. 3 versus 15.
Yeah, I mean, I have 2 top tiers. It's first tier is Lamar. He's by himself. And the next tier is Burrow, Kyler, Allen, and Hurts for this week. Okay. They're all within a half a point.
Okay. So we covered a lot of stuff. We'll go just a couple of minutes. I got to get to rugby practice. What do we do, Jason, with the wide receivers? I think I wrote 7 of the 10 had underwhelming games, right? We had Brian Thomas Jr., Jamar Chase, A.J. Brown, Nico Collins, Drake London didn't have a lot of games, but the targets. Would you double down on them this week, or would you be worried maybe some of them are having a weird blip or a trend or something?
Doubling down. You didn't draft them that high for nothing. Also, the worst move ever is to panic after week 1.
Okay, yeah. Is there anyone, Brian, anyone you're a little panicked about? AJ Brown, I am a little worried about. Nico, I'm not worried about. Maybe Brian Thomas Jr. Could he be a 1-year wonder? Could Travis Hunter eat into that carry? Is there anyone that may be a little worried? Obviously, Jamar Chase is going to be fine.
I mean, maybe I can quell your fears on AJ a little bit. Dallas Goedert's been hurt. I always say if one of Goddard, Smith, or Brown is out, the other two feast. So that could really help with AJ. He's always going to be so volatile just because if the running game is working, they're just going to keep pounding it. So you're going to have a week like this, and you're going to have a week where he has 25, 30 points. That's just kind of how he plays. It's annoying, but you just have to start him, unfortunately. Brian Thomas Jr., maybe. I mean, I'm keeping an eye. He's still an auto start, but I'm keeping an eye on it just because Travis Hunter was more targeted.
And Brenton Strange got a lot of work.
Yeah, like I just think last season he was pretty much the only receiver that looked like a professional on their team last season, and now they have a bit more help, and Brenton Strange is kind of bouncing out or getting a little better. That's another kind of sleeper. I'm pretty sure they're playing Cincinnati, right?
Yeah.
Cincinnati sucks against tight end, so Brenton Strange is, especially if he's on the wires.
Everybody.
Yeah. But like tight ends, they've been, again, bottom three. So I'm not like freaking out, especially this week. He's an auto start, but he's someone I'm going to keep an eye on. And if I can do one of those package trades that we've kind of thought about, and maybe if I could hop up to Jamar, I would definitely be looking at that.
Okay, Jason, are there anyone you're panicking? Also, Terry McLaurin had a bad game. Is there anyone you might bench in week 3 if they had a bad game in week 2 as well?
Ricky Pearsall. Yeah, I really am intrigued to see what happens with him and Mac Jones. So that's the one that I'm looking at right now.
But he had a great week 1. He had 4 catches.
Yeah, one with Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
If he struggles with Mac Jones, I'm going to bench him in week 3 because the reality is if you drafted Ricky Pearsall, you're drafting him as either your wide receiver 2 or your flex. So, yeah, that's the one I'm not panicked on, but I'm very intrigued to see. I'm actually benching him this week because I'm curious. I want to see, at least on my big money team, I have him, Drake London, and JSN. And I have Jalen Warren who's on my bench right now. So to me, I'm starting Jalen Warren. So there's that. And I have him on a dynasty team where Drake London's also my number 1 receiver. I have Golden. We have a couple other options as well. So I'm just curious, and I won't flex him either because I have James Cook in my flex.
No, James Cook in the flex is nice. Who's the wide receiver? We'll go last question or here or whatever. Who's the wide receiver that played beyond their means in week 1? That would be a fun to try and float for a trade for some of these studs who had a bad week 1 or if they had a bad week 2 and try and prey on somebody's overreaction.
Egbuka.
Abuka, that's great. 2 touchdowns, right? So would you offer Abuka out to everyone who has AJ Brown, Nico, Terry McLaurin?
Especially because Egbuka also has people coming back from injury. McMillan's hurt, Godwin's hurt. I just think it's so obvious of a sell high that you might not be able to do it, but there's
brilliant.
always somebody who loves the rookies. So you just have to kind of pound that narrative of he's a rookie. Rookies are great. Like, again, you could hate it, and especially if you're in a keeper, maybe don't think about that trade if you're in a keeper league. But he's just your prototypical one.
What about Jason, Abuka for Terry McLaurin? Who would you rather have?
I'd still rather have Terry McLaurin. Ultimately, I think long term he wins out. Abuka's still good, but it depends. Like if you're doing a keeper league, obviously it's Abuka.
Yeah, obviously, yeah.
But sure. Straight up redraft, I would make the move for Terry. I think him and Jade will get on the same page. I mean, Terry just ended the holdout recently. He's had about 3 weeks of practice now. They'll get back on the same page and get rolling.
Okay, Brian, I just worry he's 30, and we've seen some wide receivers get to that. They usually it's 31. That's when they start to fall off. But Amari Cooper fell off out of nowhere last year. So crazy stuff does happen.
Yeah, that's a type of strategy I'll die on. Of just that's such a sell high that you just kind of write it off to the game and move on if it fails.
That's the whole point. So high. Okay, we got to go. Anyone? Any last words, Jason? Any last tips, bets? Anything you didn't get in?
I got nothing.
Perfect, Brian. What's your model for this game?
Since I was quite successful, and I'm probably going to miss this one, and it'll come back to bite me. But since I was successful last week in my first touchdown bets. I do have Jaden. He was at, I think, plus 1,100 on DraftKings.
Wow.
Jaden Daniels' first touchdown. So we'll see.
The dream. It feels like Josh Jacobs gets first touchdown every Packers game. Okay, Jason, we're going to go by last score prediction from winner.
For tonight, Packers by 5.
No score. Okay, Brian?
I go like 30-20 around
30,
there.
20. Okay.
So
Cool. Yeah.
30-25. 30-25.
I'm going to say 30 31, 20, 30. Oh, I always say high and slow. I'm going to say 24 21 Packers. I hope it's high scoring. Okay, that's it for us. Make sure to check us out, our Sunday morning show. We'll be doing start sits. We'll be doing previews. We got most of our rankings up. Check out Brian's projection model. We dropped that today. It's just great to look, who's going to score what. Jason's always doing our injury stuff. So, week 2 is always a terrible week for injuries. I assume all my teams will fall apart. But otherwise, check us out later. Okay, thanks. Cheers.